Have you ever been punished for something you did not do? Maybe your teacher punished you for talking while the teacher was teaching. It is the hour when the veil between the spirit world and the human world is thinnest, which means that any human who dares go out of their home during this hour risks encountering spirits. And if these spirits take a liking to you, then they might just decide to keep you company forever. But what if you were punished for something you knew nothing about? However, her stepmother was jealous of the deep bond Suri had shared with her late mother, and she wanted to break whatever was left of that bond. But remember, you are not allowed to come back empty-handed. When Suri asked why she had to go to the river, her stepmother told her, "If you really miss your mother, then you know where her soul is, right?" But when he couldn't find her anywhere, he returned home furious. Her stepmother comforted him, saying that she had tried to tell him not to send her to the river, but he didn't listen. "Your mother is here," she said, pointing to a small hut. Suri opened the door and saw her mother sitting inside. But Suri had learned from her mistake and she didn't want to make her mother suffer again. She replied, "I want to go back to my normal life." The spirits accepted her answer and sent her back to the village. "Your face is so ugly. No wonder your mother died. I can't believe your father left you behind. But why does she want to swim across the river?" Suri replied, "She thinks she's so beautiful, but I bet she won't be so cocky once I win the challenge." Then the spirits prepared themselves to carry out Suri's plan. From that day on, the chief's daughter apologized to everyone for her behavior and became best friends with Suri. And though Suri had lost her mother and her father, she had gained a friend who loved her for who she was. Suri felt like crying, but then said, "You may think I'm ugly, but I'm sure I'll find someone who will love me." At first, she swam well and easily made it to the other side. But the spirits shook their heads and said, "No, child, we have been waiting to punish her for a long time. We won't hesitate this time." Just then, Suri remembered that she had a gift. She could speak to the spirits, and she used this ability to convince them to spare the chief's daughter. She promised that she would ask her friend to apologize to her and the villagers for all the bad things she had done. But suddenly the spirits pulled her underwater. She struggled to free herself from their grasp, but they wouldn't let her. After all, they had been waiting for a long time to finally get to punish the chief's daughter for all the evil she had done. The chief's daughter laughed and said, "You better hurry up, because you're already 17 years old." Then she turned to go back home, but Suri stopped her and said, "Wait, I bet you can't swim across the river in one breath." The chief's daughter accepted the challenge without hesitation. If you like this story, please subscribe and leave a comment. Also, share it with someone who needs to hear this. See you next time. "Mother, you have to wake up," she cried. But her mother didn't respond. And in the morning, the villagers told her that her father had married a mysterious woman from the city and had moved there with her. Suri was heartbroken when she heard this, but she knew that her mother would want her to be strong. So she decided to carry on. So Suri called for the spirit queen, who waved her magic wand over Suri's mother. Suddenly, her mother opened her eyes and said, "Suri, my daughter, what are you doing here? Why did you bring me back?" Suri replied, "I missed you so much. And when I heard that my stepmother wanted your powers, I brought you back to give her something else." But when mother and daughter embraced, the spirit queen interrupted them. "You cannot stay here, child. Your mother belongs in the spirit world now." Suri didn't want to believe this, but she had no choice. She hugged her mother goodbye and returned to the river. Then she took her husband's hand and said, "Let's forget about our daughter and focus on our future together." Soon, Suri's father began to forget about his daughter too. They had dinner together and soon went to bed. Go to the river and ask her to give me some of her strength. Every day, she would hear women in the village praising her stepmother's beauty and discussing how lucky her father was to have her. Meanwhile, Suri was taking care of her mother's grave and praying that her mother would protect her from her enemies. As soon as she arrived, the spirits welcomed her, saying, "We've been waiting for you, child. You are destined to become one of us." Just then, the queen of the spirits appeared before her and said, "You are a kind and hardworking girl, and we are pleased with you. Tell us, what do you wish?" Suri was scared at first, but then remembered everything her mother used to tell her about the spirits. So she stood tall and said, "I wish for my mother to come back to life so I can tell her how much I love her." The queen was impressed by Suri's bravery and granted her wish. "I need her power so that I can become more beautiful than her and so that your father can finally accept me." Poor Suri had no idea what her stepmother was talking about, but since she knew her father would get angry if she disobeyed, she packed some food and set off to the river. So she went to Suri's father and told him, "My dear husband, you have never told me why you don't want me to live with my parents." If she did come back before sunset, then her stepmother would tell her father that she hadn't been able to ask her mother for anything because she hadn't even reached the river. But if she didn't come back before sunset, then her stepmother would tell her father that she must have been scared when she saw the dangerous animals in the forest, and that's why she didn't come back. Hey. Either way, her stepmother would win. I am sure they would love to see me and you together. Hearing this, Suri's father replied, "I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about it. It's just that I have a lot of work to do." Her stepmother got upset, thinking that her husband didn't care about her or her feelings, so she decided to make him understand why she needed him to make that decision. How would you feel? Betrayed, sad, angry. Well, this is exactly how Suri felt when her stepmother sent her to the river to fetch water during the forbidden hour. What is the forbidden hour? It all started when Suri's mother passed away. A few months after her burial, her father married another woman who became Suri's stepmother. Though her father loved her, he never stopped to think about how she must be feeling, having lost her mother and now having to accept a new woman in the house. But she would come back with flowers in her hair and clay on her hands. He asked her what she had been doing there, and she told him the truth that she had been visiting her mother's grave. He understood why she did what she did, but he also believed that it was time for her to move on. So he told her she would no longer be allowed to visit her mother's grave, saying that the cemetery was a sad place and she, as his daughter, should try to stay happy. Of course, Suri cried when she heard this, but her father insisted. So that very day, Suri went to the cemetery for the last time. She dug up her mother's favorite flower, a white hibiscus, and planted it in her father's garden. Then she went to her room crying. As you can imagine, Suri was deeply attached to her biological mother. She missed her so much that she would visit her grave every day, hoping to get some comfort from her loss. Well, one day, Suri's father noticed that his daughter was going to the cemetery every day. As days turned into weeks, Suri almost forgot about her mother. She went to Suri and told her, "You will go to the river to fetch water." However, she didn't know that her stepmother had laid a trap for her, because the only way she would get caught was if she didn't come back before sunset. And that's exactly what happened. When night fell and Suri still hadn't returned, her father went to look for her in the forest. Meanwhile, in the river, Suri was in big trouble. Then she took Suri's hand and led her through the forest. When she arrived, The spirits welcomed her again and said, "You have shown great bravery, child. Ask for another wish." But when she got home, things had changed. Her father and stepmother were nowhere to be found. However, she couldn't help but think that her stepmother must have gone to the river to ask the spirits for beauty, which meant that she had to be careful. One day, the chief's daughter came to visit Suri, and when she saw her, she said, "Wow, Suri, you haven't changed at all." Meanwhile, the spirits watched them from afar. "She is a brave girl," they said. So the chief's daughter stripped down to her underwear and tied a rope around her waist. Then she jumped into the river. On the other side, Suri prayed that the spirits would forgive her friend. "Please let her go," she begged. The spirits agreed, and when the chief's daughter came out of the river, soaking wet and frightened, Suri kept her promise and forgave her. Thank you for watching.